Fox News contributor and American Enterprise Institute scholar, and Adrian Elrod, Strategic Communications Director for Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign. Good to see both of you.
Good to see you, Martha.
So, Adrian, tell me why those numbers don't concern you.
Well, they don't concern me for a couple of reasons. Number one, this is the RNC's internal polling data, which you just mentioned. So it's obviously coming from a somewhat biased
the RNC and the DNC both do research. They look at their battleground states.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
Yes, that's why we put RNC at the top of it. It was their numbers.
Sure, okay, absolutely. But secondly, there's plenty of polling out there that shows that Americans trust Democrats to handle their views on taxes, to handle infrastructure spending as well. There's a new Quinnipiac poll that just came out that shows that 46% of Americans favor Democrats to fight for them on taxes versus 41% for Republicans. So you're always going to see polling go back and forth. But, you know, Martha, the real issue here is that Republicans should be winning on this issue. They should be winning on taxes. They should be winning on infrastructure spending. They have full control of the House, Senate, and the White House. Part of the problem here is that President Trump continuously steps on his own message. He obviously, the State of the Union speech where he talked a lot about his agenda, which included taxes and infrastructure spending in 2018, got stepped on because he started talking about who clapped for him more the next day. And that drove the news.
No doubt that's a frustration for the people that work closely to him. And Marc Thiessen has said it's a frustration for him as well.
Sure.
Marc, what do you see in these numbers and in terms of the bigger picture?
What I see is a big win for Republicans. I mean, look, when this bill was introduced and was passed in December, 37% support. By January, it was 46% support. And by now, it's 51% support, not according to the RNC, Adrian, according to the New York Times. The failing New York Times even says that this is a winner for Republicans. Why is that happening? Because this wasn't just tax cuts, it was tax reform. It was incredibly complicated. So in December, people didn't know if they were going to be winners or losers. Now what's happening is people are starting to realize that 90% of Americans are going to get several $1,000s of middle-class Americans are going to get several $1,000s in their back on their taxes, and they're getting it right now because what's happening is with employers are lowering their withholding. So every American is starting to see who benefits from this tax cut is starting to see more money in their paycheck right now, and all of a sudden people are waking up and seeing I have more money. This is good for me.
And we've got months to go to see how that sorts out for them as we head towards the midterm. But I would be remiss if I let you go without asking you about George Clooney. Right? Because it's the biggest story of the day. George Clooney has not said that he's considering running for president, but he has said that he and his wife will be at the March for Our Lives on March 24th in Washington. They gave $500,000 to the cause. Oprah Winfrey, not to be outdone, said she agreed with him 100%. She threw $500,000 toward this cause as well, which, of course, gets people wondering, Adrian, whether or not he's going to be your guy.
Look, I think it's as much as I would love to see George Clooney win, and I'm sure that millions of women across this country agree with me. I don't.
It wouldn't be boring, that's for sure.
It would not be boring, that's for sure. Look, George Clooney has always been a huge donator to philanthropic causes. I'm so impressed that he and Amal have given so much to this gun reform effort as well. This is no surprise, but I certainly don't think that it means that he's going to run for president.
You got 5 seconds, Marc, to weigh in.
Yeah, so George Clooney is thinking, look, Trump's a reality star. I'm a real star. If he can be president, so can I. But, you know, the problem is that they need to get back the Obama voters who they lost in states like Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania and Ohio. And a Hollywood liberal ain't going to get those voters back.
That's the real work for the Democrats, to be sure. Adrian, thank you very much. Good to see you. Good to see you, Marc, as always. Thanks, you guys. So the results are in, and political scholars say that it's official. President Trump is the worst president